Do you have a friend that likes to argue? Are you the friend that likes to argue? In this video, we'll go over 5 rules you should follow if you want to master the art of disagreeing with someone. Welcome to Bro Willow, the vlog dedicated to honest discussions about the world. Here are 5 rules we all should follow when we disagree on controversial topics. Rule number 1, stay calm. This is the most important rule. It can be pretty easy to let your emotions rise when someone challenges something that you care about or personally identify with. No matter how tempting it may be, don't lose your cool. Giving into anger or offense can turn your thoughtful responses into simple reactions.
I can feel your anger.
Argument is one of the hardest modes of communication, and unbridled emotion just makes it harder. If you're arguing with someone that's breaking this rule, then you should de-escalate the situation by turning the conversation in a better direction or just ending it. If they're not thinking clearly, there's not much point in continuing the conversation. It's okay to be a person of deep emotion. It's okay to care about things. But if you're the kind of person that lets your emotions control you, then you're going to have a hard time following the rest of these rules. Rule number 2, choose your battles. Deciding to engage in an argument is like deciding to go into battle. A good military commander knows that sometimes it's better to avoid a conflict instead of charging ahead every time you see the enemy. Engaging in an argument might not be appropriate if you're in a demilitarized zone. A DMZ is an agreed upon geographic area that's meant to be free of military activity. Likewise, there are situations where there has been no invitation for argument, and starting one would be distasteful. Casualties would be high. The risk of damaging the other person or the relationship that you have with them is too great to justify the conflict. There's not much reward. When winning doesn't actually have that much benefit, is it worth arguing at all? Better battles will come. Sometimes it's better to wait until a later time when a discussion is more appropriate, or you've had the chance to learn more about the subject. It would be an unfair fight. You already know that the person you disagree with probably won't engage in the argument in a productive way. They'll get too emotional or fail to take you seriously. On the flip side, many people don't argue enough. They draw back from the idea of conflict. There are times when the right thing to do is to be brave, hold your ground, and express yourself. You might be in a situation where feedback is needed and even encouraged, when the potential benefits of uncovering the truth or making the right decision outweigh the costs of argument. Some of you out there need to dare to disagree. Doing so can help someone be a better person. It can help your company be more successful, and it can even save lives. Rule number 3, don't make it personal. Just because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean that they are a terrible person or that they don't like you. It doesn't mean that they are an idiot or that they believe differently for no good reason. You need to remember that the other person is a fellow human being that should be treated with dignity. If you attack people for thinking differently than you do, then not only could you be hurting someone without good cause, you're also making it harder for that person to engage in the conversation without getting overly defensive. In a good argument, the people involved are not on trial. The ideas are. Keep the conversation focused on the opinions, reasons, and ideas being considered. It might be helpful to pretend that your opponent doesn't actually believe what they're saying, but instead are doing their best to argue for that position. If you focus on the person, then you're in danger of falling into the ad hominem fallacy, meaning instead of addressing the argument itself, you discredit what they're saying only because of who they are. I repeat, ad hominem is a fallacy. Rejecting an argument only because it came out of a certain person's mouth is not an acceptable answer. If you want to properly respond to an argument, then I strongly advise following rule number 4. Build a steel man. One of the many mistakes one can make in an argument is known as straw manning. Straw manning refers to a situation where you defeat an argument that your opponent never made. You misrepresent your opponent's argument to face something that's easier to attack. A straw man.
Help! Help! Well, what happened to you? They tore my legs off and they threw them over there. Then they took my chest out and they threw it over there. Well, that's you all over.
Here's an example that's relevant to today. Imagine you came to me and said, Jordan, Black Lives Matter. Remember rule number 1, stay calm. And I turned around and said, no, all lives matter. Rule number 1. With that kind of response, I could be setting up a straw man. I could be thinking that what you really meant was Black Lives Matter more, or an even stricter statement, only Black Lives Matter. Even though my response could be appropriate for those statements, it doesn't change the fact that you didn't say it. All you said was Black Lives Matter, and if I'm not sure what you meant by that, then it's up to me to ask you to clarify that for me. Creating a straw man is a waste of time, because the other person now has to defend the fact that they didn't say something, as opposed to focusing on what they actually said. Doing this gives the impression that you're not listening, and that winning is more important to you than understanding. A defense against straw manning is doing the opposite. Steel manning. Intentionally form the best version of your opponent's argument. Ask them if they agree with it, and then argue against that. You should try to do this as early in the conversation as possible. That means your first goal is to listen and gather the information you need to build your steel man. By doing your best to help your opponent's argument as much as possible, you'll understand their position more clearly. You might even discover that there wasn't a disagreement to begin with. In our example, my initial question could be, do you mean Black Lives Matter too? If you said yes, then I could simply say, I agree. If you still disagree with the person after this exercise, at least they'll know that you understand them, and they'll be more likely to listen to you. As mentioned before, by doing your best to help the case of the other side, you just might find yourself persuaded. And that leads us to rule number 5. Keep an open mind. Are you willing to be wrong? Do you even consider that to be a possibility? Whenever you don't, you shut off your potential to learn something new and grow. Arguing with this kind of mindset means that you're asking someone to do something that you yourself are not willing to do. Listen and reconsider. No one is perfect, and that makes it possible for any of us to be mistaken and to have ideas that aren't the best.
Mr. Minkus, you're wrong.
Wrong? As in, not right?
An unwillingness to subject our own thoughts to judgment allows those mistakes and ideas to exist indefinitely. So those are the 5 rules that I want to follow. There's a really good chance that at some point I'm going to say something that seems wrong to you or goes against your views. I want that to happen. That's what these videos are for. To face these controversial topics head on and get closer to the truth together. If we all follow these 5 rules going forward, then the world is going to have much better conversations. Do you disagree with any of my rules? Can you think of any rules that should have been added? If so, let me know in the comments. For next week's video, I was intending to jump into the fray for the first time by sharing my thoughts on the Gillette ad that caused such a stir recently. Instead, I want to venture into a different issue that has come up this week, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on it. If this was beneficial to you, share this video so that we can get more people on the same page. Thanks for watching.